So we have the KINGBOLEN ECT200 that we're going to try out today. And this is basically a very inexpensive power probe. So you've got a probe here that you're going to probe your circuit with. Got a couple of LEDs to light up the area. You've got an output ground for if the item is disconnected from the car and is not grounded, you can provide the ground here. And a couple clamps that we're going to clamp to the battery, or a positive and negative on the car. The clamps themselves are not all that great. I will probably end up cutting these off and putting a better alligator clip on these. They are copper, and I'm sure they're going to do the job. But let me read the specs off, and we're going to go over here on the car and give it a shot. So this is showing that the input voltage can be anywhere from 8 to 32 volts. So 24-volt systems, you're good. You can connect this up. The test voltage is 0 to 80 volts. The working current's only 80 milliamps. So if you're worried about certain circuits being overloaded by probing this, just make sure that they can handle 80 milliamps and you should be good. The activation current is up to 8 amps. So you can activate solenoids, lights, anything that requires power, you can activate with this up to 8 amps. Now, it also has circuit protection. So if it starts drawing too much current, or you hit something that's completely a dead short and you try to put power to it, it's got an internal circuit that will open up and not harm the tool or the car. So let's go ahead and go over here and let's give this thing a shot. I'm going to hook this up to the battery. We're going to go back on the tail light. Oh, I think it's got about 16 foot of cable. And the idea is so you can hook this to the battery and you can go pretty much anywhere on the car, underneath the car if you have a lift, or you're crawling underneath the car. And you can always have your ground and 12 volts with you whenever you're testing whatever circuit you're testing. That way you're not having to run a separate jumper wire or trying to jumper a connector, power to power or whatever to get your 12 volts. So let me get this thing hooked up, and then we're going to give it a shot. Okay, guys, so we're back here at the taillight assembly on our Camaro. And let's just say that your taillights aren't working. You're wanting to check for powers and grounds. Now, the taillight is working on this car. So we're not really going to find a problem back here, but I'm going to show you how you can check for powers and grounds, and then we're going to check this bulb. So basically, right now, the tool is plugged in, and hopefully there's not too much glare to where you can't read that display. Right now, that's showing 0 volts, and it's reading this right here. If you want to check and see what your battery voltage is, you just push this button to switch up. We have 12.1 volts. So whenever you're checking for grounds, or power or grounds, we're just going to touch this right in here on the contact. That's a ground, that's a ground, that's a ground, and that's showing 11.8 volts. So we've got power back here and we've got grounds. So let's say we wanted to now check, let's say we now wanted to check our light bulb assembly. Well, since it's not connected to the car, we have no power or ground to the bulb. So I'm just going to take this alligator clip right here, which is ground, and I'm just going to connect it to one of the contacts right there, and I'm going to push this button forward. That filament's good. Both filaments are lighting up. You can see how handy this would be, to where you don't have to dig out wires to jumper this and that. You've got a power and a ground anywhere you go in the car. So you can see how handy this would be to troubleshoot, trailer lights or brake lights, or anything under the hood. You've always got your power and grounds with you wherever you go. Anyway, this is the KINGBOLEN. Oh, also, if you're up underneath the dash, you've got your lights right here illuminating underneath the dash. And you heard the buzzer. Also, that's the buzzer for the continuity check. Anyway, KINGBOLEN ECT200 Circuit Tester. Seems to work pretty good. You guys take care. And the one thing I did forget to say is whenever you're all hooked up, instead of pushing forward to supply your 12 volts out here on the probe, if you needed a ground out here on the probe, you just pull back on the switch, and then you're providing ground to the probe. So if you're testing a circuit and you verify that it's got power, and you need to see if the solenoid or the light will come on when it gets a ground, you just hit back and you got your ground right here on the probe. So, you know, very handy tool for quickly checking circuits and verifying that you got powers and grounds and supplying powers and grounds when you need it. Anyway, you guys take care. We'll see you in the next one.